Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming to our podcast. Today, we're talking about the theme Demystifying Artificial Intelligence for Small and Medium Businesses. And we have three distinguished guests here for our BIX TV podcast. And I'm going to ask Rod, and then Jasmine and Katie to introduce themselves, please.
Very good. I'm Rod Davis. I'm the president of the Better Business Bureau here, serving Southeast Florida and the Caribbean. And we have the opportunity to work with a lot of amazing SMBs in Southeast Florida and the Caribbean. So very excited to be here today.
I'm Jasmine Ward. I'm the Vice President of Strategy and Operations at TechUnited and advisor to Better Future Labs, our new startup venture studio. TechUnited works with 30,000 of New Jersey and the region's startups, innovators, and tech leaders. So we're excited to be here to share some of what we've learned with the rest of you.
Hi, I'm Katie Weiss, former VC, current Chief Growth Officer of a company called MRGN AI, which by its name you may realize is an AI company, but we also hyper-focused on future of work. I just want to add this in here. I don't think we got to hear your wonderful definition of what is AI.
That's right. I forgot. Okay. Let's start by suggesting a definition of AI so we all will be on the same page. So AI is an intelligence that is generated by us teaching computers how to learn, how to make decisions, how to predict things, how to answer questions, and then help computers to teach themselves how to be smarter and more efficient so that it can provide, faster and better, more creative and innovative services to society. This is one definition I guess we can all live with. Or any comments?
No, that's perfect.
No, that's exactly how I would phrase it.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being here. And let's start with the questions. Rod, for you first, since you work with SMBs and they are currently exploring AI technologies, what trends and patterns have you observed in their approaches?
I think with the SMBs, you have a real diverse spectrum. Some are doing nothing in AI. Some are asking questions, what is it? Should I be doing it? And some are actually moving forward to integrate it into their platforms. And so we see a lot of different things happening. And this kind of a discussion, I think, is really important because we do want to demystify it. We want to give some advice and guidance. SMBs don't have tech departments. A lot of them don't have IT experts. So being able to get a better understanding of what's out there, how to make it accessible to them. And I think to the extent that there are businesses that are integrating AI into existing platforms or new platforms that service a lot of different businesses, it'll make all of that more accessible to every business in the market.
Let me go here for Jasmine. Jasmine, how do you think AI can help startups become more agile and more competitive?
I'm going to speak a little more regionally throughout this podcast and talk mostly about what I've learned working with New York and New Jersey-based startups. What I've seen as the biggest opportunity is for very small teams and emerging companies to leverage AI as a 24-hour staff member. It ends up being a resource for them to work so much more efficiently, effectively, analyze loads of information and data in a time frame that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to do even a couple of years ago. So it provides them these opportunity to be more competitive, operate in market perhaps even a little bit faster, and to leverage their existing knowledge of technology and programming to implement AI as just a layer of how they're building their product, oftentimes helping them go to market even faster.
And Jasmine, I'm just going to add a little note here because I completely agree with what you say. But when I've seen companies use data and AI, In other fashions, I've seen them use it to create this like hyper personal experience for both the businesses or the consumers that they serve. And I think that's like that's a hidden power of AI. It's being able to create personal experiences
For sure.
through technology.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Katie, can you share with us some practical ways that you see the SMBs start integrating AIs into their operations?
Yeah. So as you know, there's many different companies that fall under like kind of the small to medium-sized business bucket. When you think about those who are not technology companies, I think you could look to the community and see what is being built. There are so many companies today that are looking for ways to support small businesses, and a lot of them are using AI to do so. Not to promote my company, but what we do here at MRGN, we're using AI to allow companies to understand their own business better. We take the data that they give us during their 5-minute onboarding process. We take data from across the web, think Forrester, Gartner's, think government sites, weather.com. We're taking all this information, we're feeding it to our AI, and we can provide a real insights to a company about what they are doing and how their business is run by bringing this all together and feeding it into our bot.
It's wonderful, wonderful. And how is that has been an experience that is well accepted? It's easy to adapt and use this kind of technology in the companies?
Yeah, I mean, our onboarding process takes less than 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, you get this information. There's no heavy lifting for company. Our engineers have built out this technology, and there are other technologies too that I see are widely implemented across small businesses. I think everyone today, or a lot of folks, are familiar with ChatGPT. It's very commonly used. I was talking to one of my friends who's a chef, and I was talking through with her how she can use this AI tool to optimize her small business. And she's been texting me for the last couple of days saying, where has this been my whole life? There are so many applications that are simple, easy to use, either free or relatively low cost.
I have a question now for Rod, and I'd like for Jasmine to comment on it as well. We have all this interest in using AI for different purposes. And what do you think are the main challenges for SMBs and startups to adopt and use it to the best benefit possible?
Well, I think the first challenge is just a fear of the unknown. What is it? How do I access it? How do I find a good partner? And so, that's really important. You want to find a business that has the expertise, that will do this the right way, that can really, as Katie talked about, help you pull together the information you need to create a really smart AI product. And you don't just create it and let it go. You create it, you test it, you see how it's working. You don't turn it loose on the public until you've actually done your own in-house testing, and a good company is going to work with you to do that. And we don't want a bot out there telling somebody who's married to drop their wife and marry somebody else, like got into the news a bit earlier. So a little more testing in that space can help businesses move ahead with it. We talked about some of the 24/7 opportunities that this gives to a small business. If you're a small business and you can't afford to have 24/7 service with a live operator, a really good bot can handle 99.5% of what your live agent might do. And then they can relay any unresolved issues on to one of your staff people. So there's opportunities to create better efficiencies. There's opportunities to create better service for your customers. And I think there are other examples, and we'll get into some of those a little bit down the road, that businesses have streamlined some of their operations, some of their repetitive tasks, and using AI to make that much more efficient, so that their staff people are free to do more creative things and don't have to spend their day in the drudgery of of something they have to do 44 times every day in order to get one result.
Sure. So Rod just brought up a really interesting example in chatbots. In addition to, okay, a chatbot might answer 99.5% of what a live agent might have answered, a lot of businesses never had a live agent in the first place.
Yeah.
So the opportunity to quickly implement a smart chatbot is actually a huge opportunity for SMBs to stay in business. This is opening a new communication channel for them with potential customers, opens up, I mean, the stats vary, but it provides them with a new opportunity to connect with net new customers, answer questions from returning customers, perhaps just provide an additional touch point in those 14, 17 touch points that are required for a company to actually make a sale online. And so it opens up this incredible just sales and revenue opportunity for businesses that perhaps might have never had that, including many of us experienced over the last couple of years how many more businesses realize the importance of a digital online presence. And so AI has been a part of that for a very long time. I know everyone is talking about ChatGPT now. However, uses of machine learning, natural language processing, big data, these have been around for a very long time, and it's a wider definition than most people realize than just typing and going back and forth with GPT. It's how we are leveraging those efficiencies, those automations, those enhancements into sort of our everyday businesses and business products. Even just SMB products like QuickBooks have evolved so much in the last couple of years by doing their own, product development that then services back to businesses and allows them to be, that much more percentage effective and efficient. And really, like I keep using those words, to me, those are the two most valuable words for a startup. When you're a founder, the most valuable resource you have is your time. And so the more that you can offload and automate, standardize some of those things that would have in the past taken you even 5 or 10 minutes, get you back some of that time in the day to be what's called sort of the human in the loop with AI. You get to do the things that only a human, only a creative brain can do. You actually get more time back to run and grow your business in the way that we still can't do quite yet with AI. And so the challenges are certainly there. There's a level of tech adoption. There's a level of understanding all these different plugins and extensions and opportunities. But the benefits are that you're opening up new sales opportunities, new sales channels, potentially a quicker go-to-market opportunity for your business. You're giving yourself back more time, and you're likely just increasing week by week the amount of time you're getting back and making your business more efficient.
Yeah, and I think one thing I would add to that is if you think about a business and all of the data that you have about your business, both good and bad, imagine 1,000 transactions with your customers that AI goes in and pulls out the information on what's creating happiness with your customers and what's creating dissatisfaction. And it monitors that without a staff person having to go into 1,000 files and pull that information together. And then it pulls it into a concise form so that a staff person can look at that and say, okay, now if we build on this, we'll be that much more successful. I need to find a way to keep this from happening. How can I do that? And just using that person, as Jasmine pointed out, for that creative pulling together of the data in a meaningful way to make change, and your AI is feeding that to the person so they have the time to do that.
Let's see here. Katie, can you share some of your experience with your clients and how they have implemented your AI? And I would also like to ask you to talk a little about how AI can help management and not only operations.
So taking a step back, I work at MRGN. MRGN creates operational plans for startups. We also help companies understand cash flow through a series of simulations. So there's a couple different thoughts on how many different business models that there are. You'll see people say there's 4. There's B2B, B2C, subscription, on demand. If you go to Harvard Business School, they'll tell you there's 8 different types of business models talking about insurance and rental and subscription. My team's identified 81 so far. So we help companies through a range of different businesses really create something using their data to understand their business better and create an operational plan, something that they can use themselves to understand their own business. On top of that, we have our machine learning AI layer of our stack that takes information, as I mentioned before, across the web from various authorized data sources and says, based on decisions you're making for your business, things you've done in the past, things you're predicting in the future, and what is being told from New York Times, from weather.com, from Forrester. This is some information you should know about your own business. So from an operational standpoint, we are giving people insights that they would have to spend hours and days of reading to maybe even plug together, where our system does it in fractions of a second. So AI can be used for many, many different things, as I talked about before. Personalization, we've talked about chatbots, we've talked about you can use AI to write your resume or write a book. I know people use it to write their blog posts and create a voice for their company in marketing. There are many ways to utilize this technology that can really just help you build a business that and help expand your own skill sets where you didn't previously kind of have expertise.
Yes, actually, in our own company, I've noticed the crazy use of AI to generate code. Have a bunch of developers working on this. Test. A programmer can get a bunch of code and say, can you make this better? Or make it faster? Or how can I add this capability? Or here's the code for my web application. I wanted to make it run mobile. And it's just amazing, right? We see numbers of 50% increase in productivity and fewer errors.
I think one of my favorite things to do is check the tone on an email that you're going to send. When you think about text message and emails, it's really hard to read tone. But so it's really good to sometimes double check and make sure that, if you're writing a customer an email or if you're having interaction and you want to make sure you're coming across in a manner you want to be heard, that you just use these tools to tweak things and make sure that, your message comes across clearly.
Absolutely. And then considering that communication is one fundamental aspect of doing and growing your business, I think this should be a practice, and we are building this practice in our own. A company can use AI, buy a product, and using that ready-made product to speed up some process. But a company may also want to build a new product or to extend their own capabilities. How do you find that this is happening in the marketplace as far as finding talent and finding people with the knowledge to implement this customized solutions that they may need or want to do?
Yeah, well, it's as we talked about, it's really important who you're working with and that they have experience and expertise to deliver what you need as a business. And anytime you have a new, or at least a more emphasized opportunity like AI, you want to make sure that you're working with somebody who is experienced and who also is right-sized for you. Some businesses are going to be focused on large corporations. Others will be working with SMBs. There's a different pace and a different way of communicating with those two entities. So finding somebody that's done work with your type of business, I think is really important. We had a good session on AI at the end of last year, and we had a local provider, and he works with a lot of SMBs. And we asked, can you bring in an example? And he, because one of the things we want to do, like we're doing today, is demystify this. What does it look like? How do I begin? And he shared with him the kind of information he collects, how they used it. And he worked with a window and door company to redo their whole estimating process. So they set up a tool that lets the consumer input their information, and then it goes through the process of pulling together the estimates and then gets that to their staff person then, who gives it a final review and then sends it on out. So there was a cost to develop that product. It was about the cost of an employee. They had 2 employees doing this previously. And what they found was through this AI application, they only needed 1, and they were able to do 10 times the volume of estimations that they did previously. So they recovered that in less than a year. And so he provided, that example. And I think having those kind of white papers, having those types of experiences, if you're a business that's looking for an AI application, we encourage you to check into that, find a reference, go on bbb.org, see if they have good reviews and if we've had complaints. And that's another resource for businesses to check. And again, look for the ones who are in podcasts like this, who are educating and informing, and who have the right kind of expertise that will help you be successful as a business owner, because you know how to put on a roof, you don't know how to create an AI application.
Yeah, and that's a great example, Rod. I mentioned part of what TechUnited has done recently is we've launched a startup studio called Better Future Labs. So the underlying focus of Better Future Labs is how technology can help to drive a better future for all, focusing primarily on software and software that impact either the future of work or sort of the B2B landscape. AI is sort of like that underlying layer that will ultimately be the driver in all of the companies that are created from the startup studio, because the company will be creating each business from scratch. So our co-founder and lead technical developer, Justin, has been doing a lot of work on setting the framework for validating the ideas that might actually become the businesses that we would then create. And so he's one person, but he's extremely technically skilled and has already actually created an AI company that had to do with software testing and helping developers find bugs in their software code. But what he's done for this particular project in validating these ideas is he worked with us to set a framework of kind of no-go-go situations. What makes sense? How might we rank on a scale of 1 to 5? And what does each of them mean for these 23 pieces of criteria? All the way from beachhead customers, timeline to launch, investment potential, and a bunch of other things that a normal group would probably evaluate. He then was able to build an AI team of researchers that talk and manage one another to serve up, when an idea is presented, the research that might validate against all of those pieces of criteria. And so they talk to one another. An AI bot manages another AI bot, which manages a third AI bot, which reports back and back. And so he has built this incredible resource that basically replaces half of the work that we would need to do to validate a problem in a manner of 20 or 30 minutes. And so it's this incredible team he's built using AI that would be valid for so many other businesses, but is helpful for this studio environment to say, we've got an idea. We all as humans came together on the creative element of putting together the criteria and understanding what we want in the scope of our mission and vision. Let's leverage this AI resource and data that's out there to make our lives easier and help us understand what the worldwide knowledge is on this particular subject, and if we have something that we think actually would make it a better impact on the world here with this concept. And so it has just been super cool to watch. He's, programming it and showing me it in his terminal, and it's incredible. And it's not to say that the human element isn't super valid. We don't have the bandwidth and the time to go out and find and interview and vet and train this team of 3 potential researchers, but he does have the ability programmatically to figure that out using AI and leverage that technology to help us build these companies and have a likelihood of a higher percentage of success with the businesses, which will result in a higher yield for the studio, which will allow us to make more money, to invest in more companies, and ultimately, continue seeing the innovation community here thrive and grow. So it's been awesome to see.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely awesome, and this is one of the things that this is amazing. I think there'll be a bunch of VC funds wanting to talk to you and see what it is, how it works.
Yes.
Oh, this is amazing, and this kind of makes sense together with the idea that we're entering an era of prosperity and wealth. and new services and cheaper goods being automated. And this, I think, this is part of the puzzle. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have seen lots of companies wanting to use LLMs like ChatGPT with their own data,
Yes.
and this is yielding amazing results. And big techs are helping us make this process easier and cheaper. And one of the things that we like to do when using AI is that we don't know if it's going to work until we test the data that's going to learn from, right? So this proof of concept sometimes needs to be done because the quality of the data may not be enough. So this process is becoming quicker and cheaper. So more and more companies are going to be able to test to see how what's the more adequate way to use AI. And another thing I'd like to add is that many companies want to know, how do I start? Okay? Just a regular company. And what we have seen is people wanting to look for quick wins. So what business process do you have to execute that deals with lots of data? Or which one needs to be faster? Or which one takes lots of people and reviews and rework? So there are lots of business opportunities to make your business more efficient, identifying some process bottlenecks, and applying AI. And doesn't have to be long or costly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Helio, you need to come up with an AI application that lets you find the right AI partner to launch your specific initiative.
Yeah, I was talking to people, university administrators in school, private and public colleges, and the idea came up that using AI, if you let the AI read your county in your all your data on your students and let it scrape the web and find out what your competitors are doing, you can make financial decisions much better. And AI can plan just like much Katie is doing in her company. Yeah. And having this level of quality, of high level consulting, college educated people that will analyze what your cash flow needs to observe. This is amazing. It's bringing a new level of management to this market. It's great. Katie, how do you see the AI community and tech community in general supporting SMBs? Or you see that companies are more focused on larger, Fortune 1000 type of clients?
I think historically we've seen this type of technology applied to larger companies, but I think as smaller businesses are smaller. There are 30 million small businesses in this country, or some insane number like that. Maybe it's not that high. I should double check my facts. But there are. I do know for a fact there are 6 times more small businesses than there are startups in this country. My company is building technology for small businesses. We think they're the heart of America. We think there are a lot of problems that can be solved with AI. And I see other companies also doing the same. So I think over the next couple of years, we're going to see more and more companies and folks kind of become aware of not only the opportunity to work with small businesses, because I see it as a huge opportunity, but also the advantage of building for small businesses. I think that AI could be instrumental because of the personal nature you can create. And I think we've seen AI do some really interesting things in the past. One of my favorite things ever, and we don't talk about IBM Watson often enough, but IBM Watson put out their own cookbook many years ago using AI, analyzing like every ingredient, every Top Chef. And if you look at the recipes they're put together, they're odd but brilliant. And I think we're just now still scraping the surface of what AI can do. So I think it's going to be an interesting next couple of years.
Certainly. And when we watch the rhythm of the growth in power and applicability, it's been growing 5 to 10 times a year. The power of AI and the ease of use, and the tendency that this pace will continue to grow. It's just amazing. It's a good time to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine, do you see that startups tend to focus in more of one type of AI application and then another? Do you see any tendency in this direction?
Just by accessibility to resources, I do see more startups focusing on the software side of AI and less on how hardware and software integrate and sort of the hardware piece of the artificial intelligence machine learning opportunity. Oftentimes, there is a big opportunity there. For example, whatever software is governing the hardware that does inventory tracking, precision farming, healthcare instances. There are many that tie hardware and software together, where I think there's a much bigger opportunity actually, because those are the markets where it takes a little more investment and time, but there's an outsized advantage in those couple of industries and more, quite frankly. I do tend to see right now, as people are still figuring it out and implementing and understanding how to best leverage pieces of artificial intelligence within their existing products, or by just simply creating new ones with AI as the foundation. It's a little more software based. I think a lot of folks are still looking at the areas of fintech, which is a big one, and are looking as well at the healthcare applications that are not hardware based. Those are two industries where there's still a ton of opportunity. And then you still see, some underlying ones of climate tech. You do see a bit in sort of like smart cities and IoT, but again, those tend to have a hardware piece as well. So it certainly varies. I think you'll see a lot of variety based on region. Typically, where there is a regional strength, you'll see startups in that area naturally sort of cater to that. So I'm seeing some fintech and healthcare, because finance and healthcare are two, pharma major industries in my region. However, those emerging areas of even, supply chain logistics, there are other, like climate farming, there are others that are starting to emerge as well in our region, and you'll see a different slice. Like I'm sure Rod sees something different in Florida.
Yep.
So it really varies based on the area. It really changes, and it also depends on where someone might be in their entrepreneurial journey, and where they might be kind of like looking to see where the challenges can be potentially solved.
Yeah, and where you touched on healthcare, I think that's just so exciting. I was at a meeting with a researcher who is looking into cancer research and treatments, and the AI application there to pour through all of the tests and the results and the trials and identify the things that are really working and refine that as you go forward, and how quickly you can do that. So before, you'd have to have people poring over all that research. Now, as you put in new treatments and new applications, and it's across a broad spectrum, the time to get back results and recommendations is diminished greatly. So I think that's going to be really exciting. I know it doesn't necessarily apply to SMBs, but it kind of goes to Helio's comment about what an exciting time to be alive, to hear some of the other applications and some of the good things that it will bring back to the globe here is great news.
Sure. And if I might add, a lot of SMBs are the individual companies powering local healthcare and pharma systems. Yeah. They might be the ones supplying small pieces of, medical products, medical technology. They might be like sort of those people that are a piece in the network of, something goes in the hospital, comes out, it goes inside of another lab. And like a lot of healthcare is pretty regional as well. And so these SMBs have this opportunity to play a part in that chain of command where healthcare is moving a lot faster. It also, the more AI is leveraged in healthcare in particular, the less human error becomes a factor. Certain hospitals have started just having an AI layer in their monitoring systems. So they're able to track, oh, this patient just got out of their bed, like we need to go send someone down there because they shouldn't be up. And there's all these instances of true just human error in the healthcare system that AI has this opportunity to completely eliminate.
Thank you very much. I learned a lot here, and I think we have a wonderful discussion, and maybe we can do this again, part 2 in the near future. Thank you very much, you guys.